Okay, we continue with the series of pickles, right? So things to watch out for that may spoil the broth for your team and for the product that you're working on, and obviously for yourself. And the antipattern this time is burnout. So we hear a lot about burnout, and essentially is when team members are overworked or not giving enough time for rest or creative work. And this goes together. You need to be able to rest, you need headspace to be able to be creative, to innovate, to find solutions. So really avoid this like a plague. Because otherwise, what happens with burnout is that it really lowers productivity, it lowers quality, and it sort of kills any capability of innovation. And that, when I talk about innovation, very hype word, essentially also includes the ability to solve problems, problem solving. And this is what matters in the work that we do. So we know what it is. How do we find out that it may be lingering? Something is creeping around burnout. One thing that you can look at is the difficulty to concentrate, the inability to concentrate by yourself or team members. Even this sort of creeps in the ability to recall your own memories. What happens? What did we decide? How did we went about it? What did you do yesterday? Another indicator is the excessive difficulty or challenge in making decisions and also problem solving. Just can't make your mind up. Really, really hard. Another thing to watch out for, another indicator here of burnout, is that constant low energy levels. Even if you can see some sort of patterns of reliance on stimulants. So really be careful with that. Another indicator is that at the end of a development cycle, you don't have something usable, something deployable, something that can be used. Things like, we only have this bit, not really the other bit. It can be fully worked or used. So only things that are finished are the ones that can add value. And so if you only find that we getting things ready and done, called parts of a campaign, or we're talking about software, maybe you only have the business logic or something like that, it's not fully usable, there is a reason for that. Maybe that we're missing headspace, we don't have the ability to make decisions, then those are signs. Another indicator is, which is very sort of goes hand in hand, is low quality. Because if you have difficulty to be able to concentrate and complete work, and you're working long hours, right, trying to stretch too much, at the end of the day, you can check a lot of time into something, but the quality is not there because you can't think straight. Another indicator is when there is a clear, it's very easy to see that there is declining enthusiasm in energy, even the lack of jokes, a little bit of banter. Humor is powerful. When those things sort of stop being there, and they were there, is a sign of something. Careful with jokes and humor, right? Because that can also be a sign of burnout, when suddenly all these critics coming behind about something, maybe a bit of a joke. So yeah, it's finding those patterns, and when things are slightly changing, they could be signs. And last but not least, in terms of indicator, one of the things that maybe you want to keep a special attention for is the frequent illnesses. Disrupted sleep, or changes in appetite, or just not feeling quite there. And very often it's also our body saying enough. So really monitor these multiple different indicators and be careful, because in order for you to be able to surface and to address them ultimately, because you want to mitigate and regain more positive, more productive, and more joyful environment. So we know what it is. We have some indicators that could tell us that the burnout is creeping in. Now, how can we bring this to the table? And for that, questions can be very powerful, especially when they are simple. Things that helps us to reflect, that sort of acts as a little poke like an open possibilities, open conversation, and at the end of the day, make things better. So what may be good questions to have in your back pocket? One could be, have we noticed changes in performance? Very unemotional, very clear, sort of factual search for performance changes. Anyone? Or the questions that can also apply in other situations is asking, what is slowing us down? And how can we alleviate? Because hoping for the best just doesn't do it. So understanding what's slowing us down, it can give us some ideas of how can we make it better. That's all what this question is trying to do. Another question that you may want to bring to the table is, how do we feel emotionally? Are we drained? Are we overwhelmed? Are we detached from this work? I'm doing my thing and that's it. Is even what we're trying to do, is that feasible? Another one interesting that goes slightly more into the details is that, are there any task activities that seems particularly draining for us or very challenging to complete? Let's find out, why is that? A lack of headspace, pressures, what is it? Another question that goes more into the solutionizing side of the things is, how can we pair on delivery? Or how can we even try the three amigos, this idea that you have three grouped together to get something out the door? We can sort of enrich each other's ideas and energy levels. Another question could be about asking options, right? Which options do we have to tackle this? And in this particular question, what you want to evaluate is how broad and how varied are the answers. Have the ability still to expand, to think of options? And are those realistic? Similar to one of the questions earlier, which is about slowing us down and alleviation, you could also ask in a different way of what may hinder us along the way. This is a very simple yet very powerful question. And you can use it in many ways, right? Because making plans is very easy. You do it up front. We also think on happy path, and yet, life is far from linear and far from optimal paths. So understanding what may come along the way helps us to think of how we may tackle it. And another question, which is even more direct in the subject at hand, is, what is one thing that would allow us to have more headspace, or would allow us to reduce noise this week? You ask for one thing, and this week, relatively short amount of time, and something we can try, so we can get detached if it doesn't work, and see how it goes. Doesn't have to be crazy reorganizations or procedures or anything. Simple things. Try them, poke, see how it behaves, make informed decisions. All right. So now you have some data from the team, some options, some wider diversity of thought on the matter. How can you fix it? What are the different antidotes that you can infuse into this pickle of burnout? One thing, surely you heard about, is about setting regular breaks and time off, so that people can disconnect. It helps. Even just physically moving, challenging, making a decision or something very difficult to tackle, moving, standing up, going for a walk, physically moving, really, it reactivates part of our own very nature. It helps. Another antidote you can do is collaborate, right? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. You don't have to do it alone. You're stronger together, especially when we feel stuck. So encourage this idea of pairing up, get a buddy, embed the three amigos practice. As an antidote as well, what you can do is foster open communication. And that really starts by leading by example, so that others can also feel comfortable discussing their workload, their stress level, their challenges, Someone's gonna need to break the ice. Another very simple antidote, and actually works in being proactive rather than reactive, which is not put in place enough, in my opinion, in teams, is setting common boundaries, so that we all have a shared understanding of what is an acceptable behavior within and to the team. We have clarity on that, and it's very easy to spot when those things are not happening and they need to be addressed. A couple more antidotes on this about burnout is prioritize. How can we favor finishing over starting? And that also means that we may defer things, we may delegate things, we may not do things. We have clarity and priority, we can focus, and when enough is enough, because there is this tipping point of diminishing return. Also, the idea of being flexible, right? Because we know we have priorities, we have focus, we have clarity, what we're going to do, things going to move. We were talking about things may come and hinder us along the way. So we need to expect the unexpected. So how we discuss, how we can tap into the team as a collective that can help us to make informed decisions. Or sometimes not making a decision is also a decision, right? How can we defer? Not now, we're focusing on this, we're doing something else. And last but not least, measure. So having the ability to monitor, to address the excessive overtime, lengthy hours, no time off, or any other sort of patterns of concern. If you measure, you'll be able to see. All right, so now it's your turn. What you're gonna try about these questions, about these antidotes, about even finding these indicators, which are the things you put in place, and what is the environment around burnout that you have. Pop it in a question, let me know. Hope it's helpful, and see you soon.